Oh, thank you so much.
You look like you need this more than I do.
The girl in the white coat was dying, and nobody stopped to help. Her name was Lily, and she'd been shivering on that broken bench for 3 hours. Ice crystals formed on her eyelashes. Her fingers had gone from pink to white, to a dangerous shade of blue. The wind cut through the city like a knife, and every gust made her body shake harder. You need to understand something. Lily wasn't supposed to be here. Just yesterday she'd been eating breakfast on silk sheets. Her father owned half the buildings she could see from this bench, but right now, with frost spreading across her skin and her phone dead in her pocket, none of that mattered. She was going to freeze to death in the richest part of town, and everyone just kept walking past. Let me tell you how she got here. You need to know, because what happens next will only make sense if you understand how far she'd fallen. Hey friends, thank you so much for stopping by. Don't forget to comment where you are watching from. Someone close to you might be watching too. Like, share, subscribe, and tap the notification bell so you never miss a story. Make sure to watch till the very end, because the final twist is something you definitely don't want to miss. So let's continue. 2 days ago, Lily had everything. Her dad, Richard Sterling, ran Sterling Industries, the company that built the skyscrapers, owned the shopping centers, controlled more money than most people see in 10 lifetimes. She lived in a house with 17 rooms. Her closet was bigger than most apartments. She'd never cooked a meal, never cleaned a dish, never wondered where her next anything would come from. She wasn't mean about it. That's important. Some rich kids are cruel, but Lily just didn't think. How could she? She'd never needed to. "Dad, I need $2,000 for the gala dress," she'd said that morning, barely looking up from her phone. "Check your account. I put in 5. He'd said it the way normal people say, "I bought milk." That was Wednesday. By Friday, everything had changed. The fight started over something stupid. At least that's what Lily thought. She'd taken her dad's new car without asking. The Mercedes, the one he'd just bought, the one he'd specifically said was off limits until the insurance came through. She'd driven it to meet her friends downtown, parked it poorly, gotten a scratch on the side. When she got home, he was waiting in the foyer. "Where were you?" "Out." She kicked off her shoes, left them in the middle of the floor like always. "With my car." "It's just a car, Dad. You have 6 of them." His face changed. She'd seen him angry before, at business partners, at employees who messed up, but never at her, never like this. "Just a car." His voice was quiet, dangerous quiet. "Do you know what I did to buy my first car, Lily? I worked 70-hour weeks at a factory. I saved for 3 years, 3 years of overtime and skipped meals and... Oh my God, not this again." She rolled her eyes. "Your sad childhood story. You've told it 1,000,000 times. Clearly not enough, since you still don't understand the value of anything. I understand plenty. I understand you're being dramatic about a stupid scratch that can be buffed out in like an hour. Get out." She laughed. Actual lie laughed. "What? You want to act like nothing matters, like everything's disposable? Fine, get out of my house. Let's see how you do with nothing." "You're being ridiculous. I'm serious. Out. Now. No phone plan. No credit cards. No access to your accounts. You think it's all so easy? Prove it." She stared at him, waiting for him to crack, to smile, to say he was teaching her a lesson and now it was over. He didn't. "Dad, you have 10 minutes. Take what you can carry." Pride is a funny thing. It makes you do stupid stuff. Instead of apologizing, instead of crying, instead of begging, Lily lifted her chin. "Fine. I don't need your money anyway." She grabbed her phone, her white designer coat, the cash in her wallet, $63, and walked out into the winter evening. The door locked behind her with a sound like a gunshot. She lasted 6 hours before everything went wrong. First, she tried her credit cards at a hotel. Declined, all of them. He'd actually done it. Cut her off completely. Her phone worked for another hour, long enough to call 3 friends. None of them answered. She tried her best friend Sophie 5 times, straight to voicemail. Then her phone died. No charger. No way to call anyone. The temperature dropped. It was January in the city, the kind of cold that hurts your lungs when you breathe. Her white coat was designer, beautiful, expensive, and absolutely useless. It was made for walking from heated cars to heated buildings, not for surviving outside. She walked for hours trying to find somewhere warm. Coffee shops closed, libraries shut their doors at 9. She thought about going to a homeless shelter, but pride stopped her. She wasn't homeless. This was temporary. Her dad would cool down. She'd call him tomorrow, apologize, and everything would go back to normal. She just needed to last one night. By midnight, she couldn't feel her toes. By 1 a.m., her hands stopped working right. By 2, she found the bench in front of the Sterling Tower, the building with her family name on it, and sat down. Just for a minute, she thought. Just to rest. She didn't mean to fall asleep. The cold woke her up, or rather, the pain of the cold. Her body hurt everywhere. The sun was up, weak winter light filtering through the buildings, but it gave no warmth. She tried to stand. Her legs wouldn't work right. Everything felt slow, distant. Her brain kept telling her to move, to get help, but her body wouldn't listen. People walked past in their warm coats, holding their coffee, heading to work in the building behind her. Her father's building. She wanted to scream that she owned this place, that her name was on the wall, that they should help her. No sound came out. A woman in a fur coat glanced at her, then away. A man in a suit walked faster when he saw her. A teenager took a photo, then kept walking. She was invisible. No, worse than invisible. She was one of them. The people everyone pretends not to see. The homeless. The forgotten. Lily understood in that moment of fading consciousness what her father had tried to tell her. She wasn't special because of her money. Take that away, and she was just another person nobody cared about. Her eyes were closing when she saw him. The boy was maybe 10 years old. He wore a coat that was too big, probably from a donation bin, and shoes with holes in them. His skin was dark, his hair was uncombed, and his face was dirty from living on the streets. She'd walked past kids like him 1,000 times, never gave them money, never even looked at them really. He stopped in front of her bench. "Miss, you okay?" Her lips wouldn't move. Everything was so heavy. The boy looked around like he was waiting for an adult to help. Nobody stopped. He bit his lip, thinking, then did something that would save Lily's life. He took off his coat. Let me repeat that, because you need to understand how big this was. This boy, who had nothing, who probably needed that coat to survive, took it off his own body and wrapped it around Lily's shoulders. "Stay awake," he said. His voice was small but firm. "You gotta stay awake or you'll die. My mum, before she told me that, about the cold." He started rubbing her hands, trying to get warmth back into them. His own hands were shaking. "What's your name?" he asked. "Tell me your name." Lily. The word came out broken. "I'm Jackson. Nice to meet you, Lily. You're gonna be okay." He said it like he was trying to convince himself. A security guard walked out of Sterling Tower. Jackson ran to him. "Please, that lady needs help. She's freezing." The guard looked annoyed. "She's just sleeping it off, kid. Move along." "She's not drunk. She's sick. Please." "I said move along before I call the police." Jackson ran back to Lily. Tears were running down his face now. "Don't die. Please don't die. I'm gonna get help. I promise." He took off running. Lily wanted to call him back, to tell him to take his coat, but darkness was pulling at her. She woke up in a hospital. The room was warm, painfully warm after so much cold. Her fingers and toes burned as feeling came back into them. An IV dripped into her arm. Her father sat in the chair next to her bed. His eyes were red. "Dad, the doctor said another hour and you'd have died." His voice cracked. "Severe hypothermia. Frostbite on 3 fingers. You almost died, Lily, on a bench, in front of my building." "How did I—" "A homeless boy carried you into the lobby screaming for help, refused to leave until someone called an ambulance. The security guard tried to throw him out." Her father's jaw tightened. That guard doesn't work for me anymore. Lily's throat felt tight. Where is he, Jackson? The boy, I don't know. He left before anyone thought to ask his name. Security footage shows him running off once the paramedics arrived. We have to find him. Lily? Dad, he gave me his coat, his only coat, in January. He had nothing and he gave me everything. The tears came then, hot and fast. I've never given anyone anything. Not really. Not when it cost me something. Her father was quiet for a long time. Then, I was wrong about throwing you out. I was angry and I went too far. No. Lily wiped her eyes. You were right. I didn't understand. I do now. They found Jackson 3 days later. It wasn't easy. The homeless population in the city was bigger than most people realized, and kids tended to hide. But Lily's dad put resources on it, hired people, asked around, offered rewards. He was sleeping in an alley behind a restaurant tucked into a cardboard box. He didn't have a coat. Of course he didn't. He'd given it away. When they approached him, he ran, thought he was in trouble. It took 20 minutes of Lily calling his name before he stopped. It's okay, she said. I'm okay, because of you. He stared at her from 10 feet away, ready to bolt. You're the lady, from the bench. Yeah, you saved my life, Jackson. I didn't do nothing special. You gave me your coat. He shrugged like it was obvious. You were dying, I wasn't. Not yet, anyway. That broke something in Lily. She sat down on the dirty ground and cried. Really cried. Not the pretty crying she'd done in movies when she wanted her dad to feel bad. This was ugly, snotty, broken crying. Why? She finally asked. Why would you help me? You don't know me. Because nobody helped my mom. His voice got small. She got sick last winter. We were on the street and she got real sick and people just walked past. By the time someone called for help, it was too late. I wasn't going to let that happen again. Lily's father, who'd been standing back, stepped forward. How old are you, son? 11, I think. I don't know my birthday. Where's your family? Don't got any. Just me now. Not anymore. Richard looked at Lily and she nodded. How would you like to come home with us? Get a hot meal, a warm bed. We can figure out the rest later. Jackson's eyes went wide. Like, to your house? Yes. I can't pay you. You already did. You saved my daughter. There isn't enough money in the world to repay that. Jackson didn't trust it at first. Who could blame him? He'd spent his whole life learning that good things don't happen to kids like him. He took a shower but kept his old shoes next to the bed, ate dinner but saved half in his pockets, slept in the closet the first night instead of the bed because beds were too good to be real. Lily watched him slowly realize it wasn't a trick, that he could stay, that he was safe. Why are you doing this? He asked one night, a week in. They were in the kitchen, a room he'd been afraid to enter at first because it was too nice. Rich people don't do stuff like this. You're right, Lily said. They don't. I wouldn't have. Not before. What changed? You did. You showed me something I'd never seen before. What? What it means to have nothing and still give everything. She sat across from him. I had everything, Jackson, and I was worthless. I took and never gave anything back. You had nothing, and you saved a stranger's life. I just gave you my coat. You gave me more than that. You gave me a reason to be better. The story should have ended there. Happy ending, right? Rich girl learns a lesson. Homeless boy gets a home. Everyone lives happily ever after. But this is real life, and in real life things get complicated. The media found out about Jackson living with the Sterlings. At first, the coverage was positive, heartwarming story of generosity. Then the questions started. Was it legal? Where were the proper channels? Why hadn't he been placed with social services? Was Richard Sterling trying to buy good PR? The comments online were worse. Billionaire adopts black child as a pet project. This is so fake. Probably kicked him out after the cameras left. Rich people using poor kids for social media clout. Jackson saw the comments. He was 11. But he wasn't stupid. He knew how to read. He knew what people were saying. "Maybe I should go," he told Lily one night. "I'm causing you problems." "No." Her voice was fierce. "Those people don't know anything. They don't know you. They don't know what you did. But they're saying your dad is just doing this for attention. My dad couldn't care less about attention. He's doing this because it's right, and because we—" She stopped. "Because we love you. You're family now. I've been here 3 weeks. And? Did it take longer than that for you to risk your life for a stranger? No. So why would it take longer for us to care about you?" He didn't have an answer for that. Social services got involved. A woman named Ms. Peterson came to the house with a clipboard and questions. She interviewed Jackson alone, asking if he felt safe, if anyone had hurt him, if he was being treated well. "They gave me a room," he said, "and food, and Lily teaches me stuff after school. Math and reading. Mr. Sterling is helping me catch up so I can go to a real school next year." "You're not in school now?" "I never went. We moved around too much. But I want to learn." Ms. Peterson wrote something down. "The Sterlings have applied to become your legal guardians. That's a serious process. It means they'd be responsible for you permanently. How do you feel about that?" Jackson thought for a long time. "I feel like I got lucky. Finally." But there was a problem. There's always a problem. Jackson's uncle appeared, a man named Derek who claimed to be his mother's brother. He'd seen the news coverage and came looking for his nephew that he'd been searching for everywhere. Lily knew he was lying the second she saw him, so did her father. But legally, blood relatives got priority. "You have to let him come with me," Derek said, standing in the Sterling living room like he owned it. "He's family." "Where were you when he was sleeping in alleys?" Richard asked coldly. "When he was starving, when his mother died." "I didn't know where they were. His mom and I lost touch." "Convenient. I got rights. I'm his uncle." The court date was set for 2 weeks later. Jackson would have to go with Derek temporarily while they sorted it out. The judge said it was procedure. Lily watched them take him away. Jackson didn't cry, but his eyes said everything. He thought this was it, that the good thing was over, that he'd known better than to believe in it. "We'll fight this," Richard promised. "I'll get the best lawyers. We'll prove he's lying." But Lily knew the system didn't work like that. She'd learned that much. The system didn't care who loved you. It cared about paperwork and blood and rules. She had to do something else. She found Derek's address, a crappy apartment on the east side. She went there alone, which was stupid and dangerous, but she was desperate. He answered the door with a beer in his hand, 3 p.m. on a Tuesday. "What do you want?" "The truth. You don't care about Jackson. You just want money." Derek smiled. It wasn't a nice smile. "Smart girl. Yeah, your daddy's loaded. He can afford to share." "How much?" "How much you got?" "I have a trust fund, 50,000. I get access when I turn 18. That's in 2 months." "Not enough. It's all I have." "Then I guess the kid stays with me. Who knows? Maybe I'll grow to like having him around. He can earn his keep. Lots of ways a kid can make money if you're not picky about what he does." Lily's stomach turned. "You're disgusting." "I'm practical. Tell you what, 100,000 and he's yours, but cash. No checks, no traces. I don't pay taxes." "That's not... I don't have..." "Then we're done here." He shut the door in her face. Lily sat in her car outside that apartment for an hour, thinking, calculating, hating herself for what she was about to do. She called her father's business partner, the one who'd always creeped her out a little, the one who'd once offered her a job at his company for way too much money. "Mr. Harrison? It's Lily Sterling. I need to talk to you about that position you mentioned." She didn't tell her dad. She knew what he'd say, that she didn't need to sacrifice herself, that they'd find another way, that Jackson wouldn't want this. But Jackson had given up his coat, his protection against the cold, the thing keeping him alive. How could she give any less? The meeting with Harrison was exactly as awful as she'd expected. He wanted her to work for his company as a representative, basically eye candy for business meetings. To smile and look pretty and help him close deals with clients who appreciated having a young, beautiful woman around. It wasn't illegal. It wasn't even explicitly wrong, but it made her skin crawl. $100,000 a year salary, Harrison said, sliding the contract across his desk. That's generous for someone with no experience. I need $50,000 up front, as a signing bonus. That's unusual. Take it or leave it. He studied her. You're not like your father. He would never make a deal like this. I'm exactly like my father. I'm doing whatever it takes to protect my family. He signed. So did she. She felt dirty walking out of that office, but she had the check. Getting the other $50,000 was harder. She sold everything she owned. Jewelry, designer clothes, bags, shoes, things she'd been given for birthdays and holidays, things she'd once thought were important. She took the cash to Derek's apartment at midnight. He counted it twice, then handed her a piece of paper. What's this? My official statement that I have no claim to Jackson. Notarized and everything. I'm not completely stupid. I know your dad's lawyers would eventually win. This way I get paid and you get the kid. Everybody wins. Except Jackson, who has to know his uncle sold him. Derek shrugged. Kid's better off, we both know it. For the first time in her life, Lily understood how her father had built an empire. Sometimes you had to make deals with awful people. Sometimes you had to smile while you wanted to scream. Sometimes you had to pay the price and walk away. She took the paper and left. The court hearing was short. With Derek's statement and the Sterling's application, the judge granted them guardianship. Jackson was officially part of their family, but he knew something was wrong. He'd always been good at reading people. You had to be, to survive on the streets. What did you do? He asked Lily that night. What do you mean? You're different, sad. What did you do to get Derek to go away? She tried to lie. Couldn't. I made a deal. What kind of deal? The kind that means you get to stay, that's all that matters. Lily, tell me. So she did. All of it. The job, the contract, the sacrifice. Jackson cried. You can't do that. You can't give up your life for me. You gave me your coat. That's different. No, it's not. You gave me what you had. I'm giving you what I have. That's how family works. But, Jackson, listen to me. Before I met you, I had everything and I was nothing. I was empty, useless, a waste of air and space and money. You showed me what it means to actually matter, to actually be worth something. Working a job I hate for a year is nothing compared to what you gave me. What did I give you? A reason to be better than I was. Time passed. Seasons changed. Jackson started school. He struggled at first, 11 years old and barely able to read, but he worked harder than anyone Lily had ever seen. He studied every night until midnight. He asked questions about everything. He soaked up knowledge like he'd been dying of thirst. Lily worked for Harrison. It was exactly as awful as she'd expected. But she smiled through it. Every day she came home to Jackson showing her his homework, asking her to quiz him on spelling words, telling her about his day. That made it worth it. Her father found out eventually. He was furious. He paid back the $50,000, tried to break the contract, but Lily had signed it. She was 18. It was legal. You should have told me, Richard said. I would have paid it. All of it. I know, but this wasn't about money. It was about me understanding what Jackson did, what it means to sacrifice something real. You're just a kid. You shouldn't have to. I'm not a kid anymore, Dad. Jackson taught me that. When you give everything to save someone else, you grow up pretty fast. A year later, Lily quit Harrison's company. She'd fulfilled her contract. Harrison tried to get her to stay. Offered more money, better terms. She walked out without looking back. She started college. Majored in social work, she wanted to understand the system that had failed Jackson and his mum, wanted to help change it. Jackson kept growing, kept learning. He'd caught up to his grade level and was now ahead in most subjects. Turned out when you gave a kid stability and support and actual belief in their potential, they could do incredible things. Who knew? 5 years later, Jackson gave a speech at his high school graduation. He was valedictorian, full ride to college. The kid who'd slept in cardboard boxes was now heading to Princeton. Lily sat in the audience next to her father, crying before Jackson even started talking. "I want to tell you a story," Jackson said from the podium, "about a coat." He told them everything, the bench, the cold, the decision to give away the only thing keeping him alive. "I didn't think about it," he said. "She was dying and I wasn't. Not yet. So I gave her my coat. That's it. That's the whole story. Except," he looked right at Lily, "except that's not the whole story. Because that girl, her name's Lily, and she's my sister now. She gave up something too. Something she's never talked about. Something she thinks I don't know about." Lily's breath caught. She worked a job she hated for a year, sold everything she owned, sacrificed her pride and her comfort and her dreams because some evil man wanted money to let me go. She paid him off, saved me, and then never told anyone because she didn't want me to feel guilty. He wiped his eyes. "So here's what I learned. I learned that when you save someone, you give them a chance to save you back. I gave Lily my coat, she gave me a life, and now I'm standing here, about to go to college because 2 people showed me what love actually looks like. Real love. The kind that costs you something." He paused. "I'm going to be a doctor. I'm going to work in communities like the one I came from. I'm going to help people who don't have anyone else. And every single day, I'm going to remember that coat, that bench, that moment when I had to choose between staying warm and saving a life." His voice got stronger. "I'll never regret giving that coat away. It was the best thing I ever did, because it taught me something every person in this room needs to understand. You're not measured by what you keep. You're measured by what you give when you have nothing left." After the ceremony, Lily found Jackson in the crowd. She hugged him so hard he laughed. "You didn't have to tell them about the job," she said. "Yeah, I did. You've been carrying that guilt for 5 years, thinking you did something wrong. You didn't. You did something brave. I just did what you did." "Exactly. That's my point. You learned it from me, and I learned it from my mum, and now everyone here learned it from us. That's how it works. That's how we make things better." Richard came up behind them, put a hand on both their shoulders. "I'm proud of you both. I know I don't say it enough, but I'm proud." "We know, Dad," Lily said. "Yeah," Jackson added. "We know." 10 years after that frozen morning, Lily and Jackson stood together at the opening of the Sterling Foundation Community Center, a place for homeless families to get help, food, shelter, medical care, education. There was a statue in the lobby, a boy taking off his coat. The plaque read, "It only takes one person to change everything." "Think it helps?" Jackson asked. He was in medical school now, home for the weekend. "I think every person who sees it will remember that they have something to give, even if it doesn't feel like much. It's never about the size of the gift. It's about being willing to give it." "Is that some doctor wisdom?" "No, that's homeless kid wisdom, much more valuable." They laughed. After everything, the cold, the pain, the struggle, the sacrifice, they could laugh. That's how you know you've survived. When you can look back at the worst moment of your life and find reasons to smile. Because yes, Lily almost died on that bench. Yes, Jackson gave up his only protection. Yes, they both sacrificed things that hurt. But they also found each other, found family, found purpose, found the truth that would guide them for the rest of their lives. The measure of your wealth isn't what you have. It's what you're willing to give away. And on that frozen morning, a boy with nothing gave everything. That changed the world. At least it changed Lily's world and Jackson's world and eventually the world of every person they helped after. Sometimes that's enough. Sometimes changing one world changes all the others around it like ripples in water. Sometimes a coat is just a coat, and sometimes it's everything. The city still got cold every winter. People still walked past the homeless without seeing them. The world didn't magically become fair or kind. But there was one bench in front of one building where something different happened. Every January, on the anniversary of that frozen morning, someone left a coat on that bench. A good coat, warm, with a note pinned to it that said, "For someone who needs it, pay it forward." Nobody knew who left it. Lily and Jackson never told, but every year the coat disappeared by morning, taken by someone who needed it, someone who was cold and scared and alone. And maybe, just maybe, that person would remember when they got back on their feet, when they had something to give. Maybe they'd leave their own coat someday. That's how you change the world. Not with grand gestures or huge donations or buildings with your name on them. You change it one coat at a time, one choice to give instead of keep, one moment of seeing someone else's humanity and deciding it matters more than your comfort. Jackson taught Lily that. Lily taught her father. Together they taught thousands of others, all because a boy looked at a dying girl and thought, "She needs this more than I do." That's the story. That's the whole thing. A boy, a coat, a choice, and everything that came after. Here are the moral lessons from this story. True kindness comes from the heart, not from wealth. Jackson had nothing but still gave everything he had, his only coat, to save Lily's life. Money cannot measure a person's worth. Lily's riches couldn't protect her from the cold, proving that humanity and compassion matter more than material things. Pride can destroy relationships, but humility can rebuild them. Lily's pride pushed her away from her father, yet humility later helped her understand and reconnect. Small actions can create huge change. One simple act of giving a coat started a chain reaction that changed lives and inspired many. True family is built through love and sacrifice, not blood. Jackson and Lily became siblings not by birth, but by the choices they made to care for one another. Real love costs something. Whether it's comfort, pride, or time, genuine love often requires sacrifice. Never judge people by their appearance or situation. The rich walked past Lily, but the poor boy saw her humanity and saved her. Gratitude should lead to action. Lily didn't just say thank you. She lived differently, helped Jackson, and later built a foundation to help others. One good deed inspires another. Jackson's act of kindness changed Lily, her father, and eventually many others through the Sterling Foundation. You change the world by giving, not keeping. Each person who chooses compassion over comfort makes the world a little warmer. One coat, one heart, one choice at a time. Dear friends, what you just saw is only one part of the bigger picture. In the next video, I'll reveal the twist no one saw coming, so make sure you're here when it drops. I would love to know what you would have done in this situation. Drop your thoughts below. I'll be reading every single comment. Thank you so much for watching. I love you so much, and don't forget to give this video a like, hit the subscribe button, and share with someone who needs to hear it.